This is Jun2004 AS1. Question 1. A steel sphere is dropped from height and falls towards the ground. State 3 vector quantities associated with the sphere during its fall. So if I just draw here at the side, if you have a sphere released from a height, what's it going to do? Well, it's obviously going to go downwards, so therefore its speed is going to increase, but because it's a vector quantity they're looking for, it's not speed but velocity. It's also going to be affected by acceleration due to gravity, so that's acceleration. And because it's moving down towards the ground, then its displacement is changing. There are lots of other things you could also say there. For the acceleration one, you could also say something about the fact that the sphere has got a weight. You could also say that it has momentum because it's moving and it's got a mass. And you could also say that it has got a height or distance above the ground. And that obviously is the same as displacement. So they're quite generous there in the things that they would have allowed. And you needed 3 of those to get 2 marks. Part B, state 3 scalar quantities associated with the sphere during its fall. So we'll just scan in a wee bit. Right, so there's the ball again, falling, and this time we're looking for scalar quantities. So you could look at the things here that we've written down and write their equivalent scalar quantities. So if we just do that, for velocity the equivalent scalar is of course speed. Acceleration hasn't got an equivalent. Displacement has got distance. We know it's going to take a certain length of time. You know, if you look up at above here, weight, then its equivalent scalar is mass. There's lots of others you could also write. You could say something about its kinetic energy. You could say something about its gravitational potential energy. They were also allowing height, its radius or diameter, its volume, and even its density. So there are lots of answers there they would have allowed. It was easier maybe to get your 2 marks in that second one than in the first part. This is Jun2004 and it's a question 2. The question says, state what is meant by the resultant of a number of forces. So the resultant is one single force which has the same effect as all the forces acting. Part 2. 2 forces act on a body. One has a magnitude of 6 newtons and the other has a magnitude of 8. Write down the magnitude of the maximum resultant force. These forces, the maximum resultant these forces could apply to the body. So if we draw the body and we apply a force of 6 newtons, then to get a maximum we would also apply the force of 8 newtons in the same direction. So you could have 6 newtons and 8 newtons in the same direction, and therefore your total resultant parallel vectors there are 14 newtons. Write down the magnitude of the minimum resultant force these forces could apply to the body, so it's obviously the other way around, where you would have 8 newtons one direction and 6 newtons the other, and therefore you're going to take the 6 away from the 8, so it would be 2 newtons to the right would be your answer. That's the end of that question.